Hi, I'm Karthik. I'm the CTO and a co-founder at Zalora Group. I've been in the company for 6 years, and we're very happy Akamai customer.
Vaughan Woods from Akamai here today with Karthik from Zalora to talk about Akamai technology, the value it adds to his business, and also a little bit about Zalora's business and the challenges they face in the ASEAN market. So Karthik, before we begin, I guess we should discuss how we met and our history together.
I know.
So it was, I think, a couple of years ago now that we first met, you and I.
I know, I remember we were looking at some internal monitoring metrics for one of our sister companies, and I noticed that their page speeds dropped like precipitously 30–40% overnight. And I was scratching my head trying to figure out how is that possible, because we know the CDNs that they use. So I remember reaching out, and I remember from the time we spoke to the time we were live, it was 11 days, 10 days.
You mentioned 11th the 11th, and you've got 12/12 coming up. I was one of your customers on 11th 11th, and I'm glad we could, scale with you throughout the day. How do you feel coming up to those periods, knowing you're going to get inundated with orders? I assume hundreds and hundreds of thousands of orders. You're comfortable that we're just going to scale away with you and you're not going to have to worry about it?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I worry more about my own infrastructure than about yours, because one of the big revelations is that having tried 6 different CDN vendors or security vendors over the last 6 years, I've seen situations where the vendor completely pops off the face of the planet. I mean, we've had I/O on some of the CDN endpoints go through the roof, disks crash, and my JavaScript and CSS doesn't load.
Yeah.
With Akamai, of course, I realize, you serve what, 25% of the world's internet traffic?
Yeah, a little over 30 these days. But, yep.
And my feeling is if Akamai goes down, the internet goes down. So the internet doesn't go down. And so I worry about making sure that we're ready to scale on our side, because we have a very high degree of reliability, and I've never had a situation where Akamai went down on us. In
2016, you finally bit the bullet on security, right?
KSD, that's right. And then we figured that the premium vendor also there's a bit of a bump in performance that we get for the money we put in. And we decided to consolidate our security vendors. And once I understood the technology that Akamai was using, the one appliance that does everything, which means my customer doesn't have to jump through 5 hops for one request, it was a no-brainer. So we turned that on May, June 2016, I think.
I don't know how guys like you sleep at night because of all this, DDoS attacks and SQL injections and bot attacks and everything else. And then the following morning, you sent me an email, and it was screenshots of our DDoS KSD defending your Taiwanese site.
Several years ago, we had a complete outage in one of our countries. I'll never forget, because it was on my birthday. So I spent the whole day in the office trying to defend against a very vicious DDoS attack. And we went through again, bunch of vendors going through, will this or will this not protect us? And the thing with DDoS protection is you never know if it works until you actually get attacked.
Yeah.
But when you get attacked, you don't want to know that you're attacked. So with KSD, we noticed we just get some alerts from the WAF. We look into them. They get the requests, and we're like, oh yeah, no service degradation. And we've had 1G attacks that we don't even get alerted for, because it just comes in and it goes.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. So, but the key question is, since you deployed KSD, have you had to work a birthday?
Nope, not ever.
Oh, that's good then. At least we're giving you some time back with your family. 3 or 4 weeks ago, you and I sat in what was the most interesting session I've sat in all year, where we'd run our bot manager product over your site for a period of a month, I think, and then my kind of uber techie guys and you went through the data. And it was eye-opening for me, the sheer amount of bot traffic that's hitting the Zalora site. And what was, I think, more eye-opening was you were able to take a business view of the impact of those bots. It was easily, the most value I've got out of a session, and the most amazed I was, I guess, about our technology and how it works for you.
It was super eye-opening for me as well, because we tend to think of load on the platform as a function of how popular our products are. And then when I saw that percentage bot traffic number, I think something like 40 to 50% on the Singapore side.
Crazy.
And it opened my eyes to the possibility of how many scrapers are ripping off our prices, how competition is then able to undercut us in pricing. Because you're basically naked in front of these bots without protection against someone looking at your sizing, your depth of selection, breadth of assortment, the brands that you have, you know, a very simple web crawler can get all this information out. And then seeing that in action, split by IP, split by source country. I don't expect people from Pakistan or Namibia to be looking at my website. Clearly something's afoot. It makes me wonder how much of that is ridiculous traffic, right? Because it's not only the fact that information that's very critical to your success is being stolen, it's also that you're paying for the bots to be perfect, because we're fully on the cloud. And any cloud vendor charges you by the volume of traffic that you're hit with, or how much infrastructure scales. And I'm proud about how we auto-scale, but I don't want to be auto-scaling for bots. And so that's why the solution is very, very interesting to us. And this was the tip of the iceberg. Singapore is not a very competitive market. Think about Indonesia or the Philippines.
Yeah.
I don't even want to look at the numbers.
Yeah. I mean, there's good bot and bad, but as we went through it and you were able to pin what page that bot's actually hitting and what it's there for getting and the potential damage it can do to your business, it was an amazing revelation for me, and I really enjoyed it.
Likewise. One of the main ROIs for me with Akamai was the fact that our two biggest markets, Philippines and Indonesia, they don't have commoditized internet providers, so you have very premium pricing on internet. So typically broadband penetration is very low. People use mobile internet a lot more. The 95th percentile of our page speeds used to be in the 9 to 11 second time window. And this is a clear proxy to the amount of time our users spend on the platform, because if it's slow, they're just going to bounce and go to the next faster platform. And when you don't host in those countries, you have an even bigger penalty. For me, the revelation with Akamai was we shaved 3 seconds off of that 95th percentile page speed. And now my Indonesian and Filipino customer can access our site at an average of 5.5 seconds, which is insane. There's a rule of thumb in e-commerce where we look at conversion rates improving by about 10% for every second of page speed that you save. And so, it's an art more than a science, and I haven't really been able to pin it back to an explosion in conversion rate. Conversion rate is also driven by the quality of your assortment. It's driven by what brands you carry. But for sure, the customer experience on the platform just improved leaps and bounds, especially the mobile customer.
So what are your goals for, say, next year?
One of our goals is to always be relevant to the customer, have the right assortment at the best price point, but also be a partner of choice for the brands that we carry. Being relevant, hyper-personalizing the experience, and of course, what we do well, I hope to be able to continue doing well. So super reliable operations, getting you the package in a day, giving you the convenience. Those are our key goals for next year.
Karthik, that's pretty much all I have for this particular session. Is there anything you wanted to cover?
Absolutely. No, I'm delighted to be a happy customer of Akamai's, and I hope the relationship continues for a long time.
Let's hope for continued success.
Likewise. Thanks so much for your support.